Hello everyone, I am Bogdan, and in this video we are taking a look at the ways in which you can assess, diagnose, troubleshoot xenon HID bulbs. First we start by setting some context. The majority of us know the halogen bulbs. They are simple creatures. You will have a filament, a tungsten filament, that heats up and generates light. The moment that filament burns out, you stop having light, and this type of system is really easy to diagnose. You see if the filament is there. If not, then usually whenever you don't have light, you know that you need to change the bulb. On the other side, the next technology that came after the halogen bulbs are the HID bulbs, also known as xenon bulbs. These ones are a little bit more complex in the way that you have a bulb that doesn't have a filament, you have a bulb that requires some additional electronics to make it work, and also you have a bulb that lasts longer, is generating more light, is more efficient, and at the same time is harder to diagnose, and it's more expensive. Many of the bulbs are not that easily available. And also many times these types of systems are harder to repair, harder to maintain. Many automotive manufacturers are selling them as lifetime components. It's not something that is serviceable. It will last the lifetime of the car. The small print or the technical information is telling us that they will last somewhere up to 3 years, 20,000 hours of use. But people don't realize that in their lifetime, xenon bulbs, although they light up, they will change their light, they will lose their light intensity. And at a certain point, it might be a good idea for you to refresh your bulbs, change them just to have that additional light output. The tricky bit comes into play when you want to diagnose these ones, because the majority of people have the halogen mindset, a mindset that says that the thing, as long as it's still working or it's not completely dead, you don't touch it, you run it into the ground. Should you do such a thing on the xenon bulbs, you risk damaging the second part of your lighting system, which is the electronics, the ballast, that should be powering up this bulb. Ideally, you should be preventively changing your xenon bulbs. Some of the situations in which you would do such a thing, the main one is if you feel the need of more light. Somewhere over 3 years of use or 60,000 miles in which you really use these lights. If you don't use them, you shouldn't really change them. But keep in mind the following thing. The main issue, or a thing that influences the aging of these bulbs, is the amount of on and off cycles. So should your car have coming home, leaving home lights, and should those lights be activated on the main beam, the one that is powered by your xenon bulb, that adds up as hours of use. So your bulb will be older because you have used it for the coming home, leaving home lights. So the first instance that you want to change the bulbs if you need more light. The second aspect, if you start noticing a difference in color between your headlights. You can evaluate this one by starting your car, starting the lights, going 20-30 meters away from the car and looking at your lights. If you see a different color, one headlight in comparison to the other one, it might be an idea to change the lights. The older or the more the more problematic this thing or the aging of the bulb will be, the bigger the color difference will be between the headlights. Usually HID bulbs, just before dying completely, they become pink or very, very blue. The third possible scenario is if you're starting to see flicker of the light. That is a very good telltale sign that something inside of the bulb is not working properly. Another bad situation to be in is if your light bulbs are struggling to light up in the morning. And also if you find yourself needing to stop to cycle your headlight. So you need to stop the light, turn it on, stop it, turn it on, and do this a few times to have your lights come on. That is a very, very good sign that you need to change the light bulbs. Also, another clear sign is if you're driving along and all of a sudden one of your lights stops and after a few seconds comes back on. These are very important signs, and these are signs in which you shouldn't really waste the time, and you should be going after a replacement for your bulbs. These HID bulbs come in different shapes, different forms, different power outputs, different color temperatures. There are different manufacturers, but one of the very important things is to buy the same type of bulb like you had previous, and also buy a quality OEM bulb, something made by Philips, Bosch, Osram, and at the same time buy it from a reputable seller. And I'm saying this because on the market you have many Chinese knockoffs, copies of the original bulbs. You could tell that they are copies sometimes because they have a very attractive price. So if the price of the normal bulb is, let's say, £100 and you find it for £30, you should kind of guess that that bulb is not the correct one. Many times the Chinese bulbs, they don't respect the content of the salts that should be inside of the bulb. The glass tube is not properly aligned, and having that tube not aligned properly will make a massive impact on the quality of your light. So there are many advantages, disadvantages. To keep things simple, although I have sold and installed many Chinese bulbs, to keep things simple for you, go for original, go for someone that backs up their bulbs with warranty, and maybe that company is able to do the install for you, just to avoid some of the hassle and some of the problems that might be just around the corner for you. If you survived until now, or if you managed to stick along with the video until now, we are going to go to the computer and check some of my pictures. Here we have side by side two D1S bulbs. On your left we have a new bulb, on our right we have an old bulb. From the get-go you're able to see that the central sphere, the central glass cell is calcified. It has an abnormal shape. It starts to extend into the outer tube. On this particular bulb, we can also see that the upper part, the upper electrode, is starting to have some cracks in it. This is a typical D1S or a typical OEM bulb. This is how they will look like when they are getting old. Here we have a D4S. We zoom in. We can start seeing a little bit of discoloration on this bulb. Sometimes the salts, the metal salts, will give a color to the bulb, but not that much. So again, here we have a D1S. To its right we have another D3S by the looks of it, judging by the boxes. but if I remember correctly, these were the counterfeit bulbs, so they looked perfect. They had the correct packing, but in reality the components inside weren't the ones that they should have been. This is a D8S. I was telling you guys that the bulbs come in different forms, power outputs. Now the latest generation of bulbs are 25, or they're lower power output, so that the manufacturers don't need to fit headlight washers. And these are the latest and greatest. Again, a new bulb, the same as on the left. Here in the central cell, we're able to see the metallic salts. Don't worry about them, it's something normal. The cell will have material inside of it. And also, depending on the temperature of the bulb, if the bulb has been lit up or if it is cool, if it's cold, the things inside will change their color. This is what happens when you fit counterfeit or very bad bulbs. We had an Audi A6, the generation that has the D3 bulbs. This is what was left of its ballast. Okay, I've opened it to see what happened inside. In both headlights, the smell of burning was very powerful, so I wanted to see what happened inside. Also, a big disadvantage if you go on the aftermarket route, the glass tube might not be properly aligned, and the quality of the light output will have to suffer. Here we have on our right a D1S bulb. Again, an old bulb. You can clearly see that the cell has changed its structure and its content. Here I went to open the bulb completely. I like opening the things to see what's inside. The previous name of our website. And yet again, same general look. This is a new bulb by the looks of it, the D1S. So just to have a reference of what you are looking at. And here we have again a side-by-side comparison. On the left, the older bulb, on the right, the new bulb. Now, I hope that this video helped. If you have ideas for future videos, if I forgot something, or if you want us to implement something in future videos, let me know, and hopefully I'll be seeing you in the next one.